Hi, my name is Chris Baer. I'm the director of CASA of Carson City. CASA of Carson City is the Guardian Ad Litem program, a nonprofit organization in Carson City that provides guardian ad litems, or volunteer child advocates, for the court system in Carson City to advocate on behalf of abused or neglected children. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what CASA volunteers do speaking up for these children, talk to you a little bit about how you might become a CASA volunteer, and a little bit about our next training, which is coming up very shortly. First of all, CASA volunteers are mentioned in Nevada law. It's actually required that a child who is removed from the home due to abuse or neglect be appointed an unpaid volunteer guardian ad litem to advocate for them in the court process. Children removed from their home due to abuse and neglect are taken into state custody. They're living either with a relative or in foster care initially, and their future is in question in terms of where they'll find a safe, permanent home. Their parents are often, and most of the time, given a case plan to outline the changes they need to make. And if they make those changes, the children will be reunified with those parents and return to a safe, permanent home. If the parents don't make those changes, there are three other possibilities. One is that those children may be adopted. They may go to a guardianship with someone other than the parents or original caretaker. Or if the child is near 18, they may simply age out. They may age out of the foster care system, and there can be some helps for them until they're 21. There's a lot of decisions that the court needs to make, and a lot of small details that need to be addressed during the court process that determines which outcome will occur. These children may have health needs of all kinds: medical health, physical health, developmental health. They may have educational needs. There are questions about what it is the parents need to do, the case plan for the parents. And in all of these, there's a team. There's a social worker, there's the parents, there are attorneys, and there's the guardian ad litem, the child advocate, served by the CASA volunteer in Carson City. Being a CASA volunteer takes caring, patience, research, writing, speaking up in court, and at child and family team meetings. These cases can go on for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So a CASA volunteer needs to be someone who's stable in the community, is living here, isn't going to move, and can follow the case and the child through, visiting the child, talking to everyone involved in the case, and speaking up in court. People ask, well, how much time is required to be a CASA volunteer? It's not that there's going to be a lot of time every day. The thing to be aware of is that it takes time over a period of time, and that you're committing to being with that child and that case for many months. We don't hear about these cases in the press. You may see a criminal arrest, perhaps for child endangerment or drug use, in the paper with a short reference to the child who remains unnamed being turned over to the Division of Child and Family Services. But then there's no more about the criminal case, and you don't think about it. Parallel to that criminal case is this child welfare case, where these decisions about the placement of the child are being considered. You don't read about that at all. So the stories of abused and neglected children and what they experience after they've been rescued and are in a safe place, the stories and what happens and the drama and the unfolding of these events and the eventual disposition where the child finds that safe, permanent home, these stories just don't get out there and aren't told, unfortunately, in some sense. But it's confidential because children don't need to be labeled by this as they grow up. These children haven't done anything wrong. They're not in the court system because they're juvenile delinquents. They're here because of something that was done to them. They're victims. And yet they're children. And the law recognizes that in addition to social workers and attorneys and judges and others at the table, there needs to be somebody from the community. There needs to be that volunteer guardian ad litem, the role served by the CASA volunteer. Somebody to speak up. Not necessarily always for what the child wants, the child's wishes, but for the best interests of the child, which means what you as the CASA volunteer think is best. Not just in the ultimate placement, although CASA volunteers weigh in on that as well, but all the way along the line and all the details, all the things that matter along the way to children. The law says that this situation for children should not go on a long, long time. Even a year or more is long in the life of a child. But parents are given an adequate opportunity to change, to grow, and to have their children return to them. Initially, it's easy to say, oh, bad parent, bad parent. But very often, we're standing there with the parents and encouraging them to do the right things, to make the changes they need to do, and helping them if it's possible and is appropriate within good boundaries, along with social workers and attorneys and the court. We're going to have an information hour at CASA of Carson City coming up September 12th at 5:30. It's a drop-in. It's a chance for you to come down, talk to me some more about being a CASA volunteer. I direct the program. We currently have about 25 CASA volunteers advocating for about 75 children from Carson City. You can come down at 5:30 on the 12th to our address at 1539 East 5th Street, just in the building behind, at the rear of the parking lot, at the corner of Salomon and 5th, the rear of the parking lot where the juvenile court is located. And stop in and talk some more about this. And then we're on the 26th of September at 6 o'clock, from 6 to 9 p.m., we're going to start our next CASA training. We'll go for 10 weeks. And every week we will learn more about the system, the child welfare system, including the hearings that go on, the role of the CASA volunteer, the role of the other people, foster parents, social workers, judges, attorneys, parents. And by December, we will have concluded the 10 weeks, and we will graduate another class, usually they're small classes, another class of CASA volunteers. CASA volunteers are very special people. They commit to going into these cases with all of the pain and hurt that may have happened to children as part of it, all of the long process that occurs as incrementally, one step at a time, parents make efforts to change their lives, as children live with relatives or in foster care, a place that they may know is not their home, that's not their permanent residence, and they have questions about that they may come to the CASA volunteer and talk to you about. You can call me as well at 882-6776, which is the CASA phone number. You can also email CASA at casaofcc@earthlink.net. The CASA volunteer is one of many people, part of a team that's addressing the needs of these children. Another significant role is that of the foster parent. Carson City does not have enough foster homes. There's a need for foster parents in Carson City. Some people may have thought about being a CASA volunteers. Others out there listening to this today may have thought about being a foster parent. You can also email CASA and we'll put you in touch with the Division of Child and Family Services. And you can learn more, you can go and talk, and find out about being a foster parent. These are the same children that we're helping, whether you serve as a foster parent or you are volunteering as a CASA volunteer. It's the same children. Children that the community has some responsibility for. If you're a taxpayer, these are your children. They're in the custody of the state. And we have a responsibility as taxpayers to take care of these children at every level. The state level within this Division of Child and Family Services, and more broadly within the community to help provide for these children. CASA of Carson City at its office has a foster kids closet. Children coming into care sometimes come without much in the way of clothing. So we keep tubs of clothing that's organized every week by a group of RSVP volunteers who come in and do a wonderful job of sorting. So we take donations of children's clothes, all sizes, all ages, 0 to 18. If they're clean, just wash them, put them in a bag, and bring them to the CASA office. Any Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday from 11 to 2. Someone is always there on those times. We're in and out the rest of the time. And drop them off, and we'll sort through them and have them in the foster kids closet for kids in transition. It's a big help. It's one of the ways in which the community cares about these kids, takes care of these kids, and shows support for foster parents who serve a vital role on that team of people taking care of abused or neglected children once they come into care. CASA of Carson City also does an annual volunteer recognition dinner. You can find out more about that on our website, casaofcc.org. We encourage anyone who would like to support our volunteers to come attend the dinner at Gold Dust West in November. It's an excellent affair, and we have a good time, and you can meet some of the CASA volunteers. Finally, let me say that being a CASA volunteer is making a difference. It isn't about necessarily rescuing kids. They've already been rescued. They've been taken out of the home by the sheriff or Child and Family Services from an unsafe parent or caregiver. It's not just that they're bad parents. We all can kibitz about bad parenting, but there's a line, and children have rights. There's the line of safety. So CASA volunteers make a difference, sometimes piece by piece, item by item, helping the system do its best for these children. Sitting in team meetings, sitting in court hearings, and paying attention to the child, paying attention to what is in the best interest of this child, what does this child need. Please think about getting a hold of me, Chris Baer, Director of CASA of Carson City. I'd love to talk to you more about being a CASA volunteer. There's lots more to know. We do a 30-hour training. No obligation to call and just find out more. And thank you for listening. Take care.